Hello all, hope you are all doing good. Today I have come up with a video on Indian Economic Survey 2024-25. So everyone is aware that tomorrow is our union budget. It will be presented by Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister. So the economic survey is a document which is released one day before the budget. So what is an economic survey? It is a document which provides a summary of India's economic performance, government policies and outlook for the upcoming financial year. So this is basically for the current financial year from 1st April 2024 to 31st March 2025. Hence, the name is 2024-25. Finance Minister releases the same in the Parliament a day before Union Budget. So this is basically prepared by the Economic Division of the Department of Economic Affairs, DEA, in the Union Ministry under the guidance of Chief Economic Advisor, who is currently Mr. Ananda Nageshwaran. Survey is approved by Finance Minister, of course. So it is not mandatory that the points are covered or it is duly attended in the budget. But as the survey is conducted by the government organization only, majority of the points are taken care in the budget. So what does Indian Economic Survey 2024-25 says? First thing, it talks about deregulation. So it states that it is the driving force for India's domestic growth and resilience in the face of global economic and political shifts. So deregulation, just like the one which was done in 1991, where there was big inflow of foreign institutional investments, etc. So such a deregulation is expected and recommended in the economic survey. We will further detail out in the session. Also, the survey acknowledges the impact of elections in major democracies, especially US, then economic instability in Europe, China's economic slowdown, and strengthening US dollar. Given the slowing pace of global trade, the survey emphasizes the importance of domestic growth drivers. Survey advocates a balanced approach to energy transition, prioritizing electric mobility and public transport. It also addressed the need for skilling and education to leverage technological advancements like AI, artificial intelligence. Now the next session in economic survey talks about global economic overview and India's economic performance. So talking about global economy, the global economy experienced steady but uneven growth in 2024 with a manufacturing slowdown. Geopolitical tensions, conflicts and trade policy risks added to the global economic stability. Coming to Indian economic performance, India's real GDP is estimated to grow by 6.4% in financial year 25, driven by agriculture and services. Rural development improved due to record kharif production. Manufacturing faced pressure from weak global demand. Macroeconomic stability was maintained through fiscal discipline and a strong external balance. In the sense, government was very cautious about not taking heavy debts, unlike US, wherein their debt repayment amount has exceeded their military spending on a year basis. So that is not a case with India because of the stated fiscal discipline to have a macroeconomic stability. Now coming to elevated global uncertainties. So the survey also mentions that there has been a high global uncertainty. So there is an index called World Trade Uncertainty Index. So it has been higher. In 2023 it was 8.5 and in 2024 it has increased to 13%. And in 2024 it has increased to 13, as you can see on my screen. Then higher Geopolitical Risk Index, GPR. So in 2023 it was 121.7 and it has increased to 133.6 in 2024. Again showing that there is higher geopolitical risk which has impacted the economy. Now coming back to India, so India's growth remains close to the decadal average despite global uncertainties. So if you see, though agriculture and industry GVA has slightly reduced, the services GVA has definitely increased compared to the past year. Compared to the year from financial year 2015 to 2024, excluding financial year 21 and 22, because 21 22 the COVID times. So if you include that, the scenario will be completely different. So they have excluded that. But on the screen you can see that GVA, gross value added, has increased for services. And if you see a GDP on a gross level, considering all these things, services, industry and agriculture, industry in the sense manufacturing as well. So in that, GDP has increased. Next, if you see merchandise trade balance. So merchandise trade balance has always been negative for India. But if you see the services trade balance, it is always in surplus. So it is always positive, as you see on the screen. Because this merchandise trade balance is negative because India is a net importer. We import a lot of things. Even though we export, it is much lesser compared to the imports. Another thing is stable banking system indicators. So if you see for the banks, the capital to risk weighted assets ratio has increased. In the sense, the overall banking system efficiency and the overall system efficiency has improved. As you see on the screen, the gross non-performing assets NPA, gross NPA has reduced March 2021 to September 2024. Also, there has been improvement in profitability, which is indicated by a rising return on assets. Again on the screen, which is self-explanatory. So banking system is the base for an economy wherein it lends to various institutions and individuals, wherein capital infusion by these banks only will lead to higher spending, higher production, higher productivity and higher GDP. So banking system has improved a lot. Bank credit has also been steady, as you see on the screen. Again self-explanatory. It has reached its highest in November 2024 as per the survey. Developments in capital markets. So if you see, around 11.1 lakh crore mobilized from primary market during April to December 2024. That is like 5% more than the amount mobilized in financial year 24. Number of IPOs increased to 259 in April-December 2024 from 196 in April-December 2023. So it is up by 32.1% year on year, with fund raised tripling to 1,53,987 crore from just 53,000 crore in the same period. India's market capitalization to GDP ratio stood at 136% at the end of December 2024, far higher than other emerging economies. Though it shows a higher valuation compared to Warren Buffett, that it should be below 90, but we have reached 136. So it is kind of showing that the Indian market is overvalued as well. That is a different topic as such. Number of demat accounts rose by 33% to 18.5 crore at the end of December 2024 on an year-on-year basis. So demat account also increased 33%, which is a very good news for stock market, wherein retail participation is increasing. Number of unique mutual fund investors doubled from 2.9 crore in FY21 to 5.6 crore as of December 2024. So mutual fund inflow is also increased. So if you see the monthly average gross SIP flows more than doubled in the last 3 years from just 0.1 lakh crore in FY22 to 0.23 lakh crore as of December 2024. Rural financial institutions have played a significant role in advancing financial inclusion. Government's strong emphasis on financial inclusion has led to improvement in RBI's Financial Inclusion Index from 53.9 in March 2021 to 64.2 by March 2024. Performance of regional rural banks has also been good. So almost 22,069 branches in 700 districts has been started. Almost 6.6 lakh crore deposits, around 4.7 lakh crore advances, that is loan being lent out. So definitely this has been an indication that the rural financial inclusion has been achieved. So if you see 22,069 branches in 700 districts include 26 states and 3 union territories. Now talking about external sector, getting FDI right. So already explained, there has been rise in global trade uncertainty. So the trade policy uncertainty index has also increased as we speak in this year, though there has been rebound in global trade in 2024. The curve shown in the screen is self-explanatory. India's trade performance in the first 8 months of financial year 2025. So if you see on the screen, the merchandise trade deficit widened in the first 9 months of financial year 2025. Non-petroleum and non-gems and jewelry exports performed well in the first 9 months of FY25. Again, getting back to services trade has been surplus in the first 9 months of FY25. So services exports reached as high as 281 in April-December 2024 compared to April-December 2023, which was $252 billion. Services imports also rise from $132 to $150 billion. Services trade surplus increased from 120 to 131. So services business has been doing really well. Now the ease of doing business initiatives for exporters. So first, development of logistics hubs, enhanced investments in infrastructure, policy reforms that led to an improvement in supply chain efficiency, implementation of paperless and e-bank realization certificate, launch of Trade Connect e-platform, launch of DGFT trade facilitation mobile app. This all has helped in ease of doing business, especially for the exporters from India. Now talking about foreign investments in India. So India continues to attract substantial foreign investments. Rise in gross FDI inflows you can see on the screen. Though gross FDI inflows has been increasing, there has been repatriation. Repatriation means foreign institutions are selling in Indian market their investments and getting the money back to their country. So it's like sending of money back to the one's own country. So as we speak in April-November 2024, though the gross FDI inflows has been $56 billion, almost $40 billion has been sold as well. And they have booked the profits. This is probably because the Indian market has been at a higher valuation. Dollar is appreciating. And also the profit booking is bound to happen in such overvalued market. And also the US treasury bills or the bond yields has been increasing. So they are parking their money in relatively safer, less risk returns, which is the US treasury bonds. Services sector leads FDI inflows with 19.1% share in H1 FY25, followed by technology trading and non-conventional energy. The chart shown in the screen is self-explanatory. Moving on to strengthening forex reserves. Our forex reserves had touched as high as $706 billion in September 2024. But if you see, because of the falling rupee, almost $50 billion has been sold off by RBI to stabilize the further fall of Indian rupee. So from 706 it has fallen to $640 in December 2024. Still we are at a good level. So this $640.3 billion is still good enough as on 27 December 2024, which will cover almost 90% of the external debt. Prices and inflation, understanding the dynamics. So inflation has been increasing very high. So CPI inflation is above 6%, though core inflation is around 4.5%. So CPI inflation minus the food and fuel inflation is core inflation. So food and fuel are the major inflation drivers. So if you minus that, then you get the core inflation, which is like 4.5%. Still, RBI's target of 2 to 4% is much lower compared to 6% CPI inflation. So RBI will have to put in policies, and budget should also support so that the inflation comes down to the desirable limit of 2 to 4%. So softening core inflation has slightly cooled the headline inflation, though it is at a higher level. Now headline and food inflation driven by few food items. Like if you see headline excluding top is like tomato, onion and potato, which are the major consumption by Indian economy. So if you exclude that, then the headline inflation is reduced. But if you add that, then you can see on the screen the inflation is higher. Otherwise the inflation would have been in the range of 4.5%, but it is as high as 6% because of the major inflation for tomato, onion and potato. Rest the curves are self-explanatory. Now administrative measures to control food inflation. So government has been concentrating on areas like cereals, pulses and vegetables, wherein in cereals stock limits on wheat has been incorporated. Open market sale scheme for wheat and rice has been in place. Sale under Bharat brand for wheat flour and rice has been done. For pulses, sale under Bharat brand for chana, moong and masoor dal has been done. Duty free imports for desi chana, tur, urud dal, masoor and yellow peas has been done. Then imposition of stock limits for tur and desi chana has been done. For vegetables, subsidized sale of onion and tomato has been done. Buffer stock of onion has been done. So all these things has been the efforts from the government to trying to control the food inflation, though the food inflation has been higher than expected. So in the medium term outlook, the deregulation drives the growth. So talking about deregulation, if you see geo-economic fragmentation is affecting global trade, this calls for a focus on domestic drivers of growth. So for this, what we have to do, the survey is recommending deregulation, which raises investment efficiency and bestows more economic freedom to individuals and enterprises. This will enhance the economic freedom of individuals and businesses and is both the means and end to unleashing internal growth levers. So deregulation is something which everybody is looking at for accelerated economic growth, and hopefully Nirmala Sitharaman ji delivers something in the upcoming budget. Undertaking systematic deregulation. So that also is identified and pursued in phase 1 and to be pursued in phase 2. On the screen as you see, reduce compliance burden, streamline system and processes and info, digitized system and process and info, and provided incentives. So these are the steps which was pursued in phase 1. Now to be pursued in phase 2 is like liberalize standards and controls, set legal safeguards for enforcement, reduce tariff or fees, like removing fees, tariffs paid to government for utilities. Then next is use risk-based regulation, like tailor legal norms to risk profile, involve third parties. So involving third parties also will increase the efficiency for this. Now investment and infrastructure. There has been substantial progress in physical connectivity. The cumulative number of Vande Bharat trains and production of coaches is shown on the screen, wherein the number has increased from 2018-22 from 2 to 68 as we speak, and also the number of coaches has increased from 32 to 900 in FY25 up to October. Civil aviation, ports and shipping, there has also been increase. So due to UDAN scheme, airports, the number has increased from 84 to 88 from March 24 to December 24. Then again for UDAN routes has been increased from 545 to 619 new routes from March to December 2024. Reduction in average container turnaround time in major ports has also been achieved, which was earlier 48.1 hours, which has reduced to 30.4 hours, which is substantial. So container turnaround is like after transportation into the shipyard, the goods has to be lifted and loaded onto the ships for shipping it and exporting it. So this time has been reduced, means this shows efficiency, improvement in operation. This will lead to easier export and quicker export, which will again contribute to Indian economy in GDP terms. Power sector also seen capacity addition. Power capacity in megawatt has increased from 9,943 megawatt to 15,000 megawatt. And transformation capacity addition expressed in MVA has been increased from 32,961 to 38,805. Growing reliance on renewable energy is also noteworthy. So it has increased from 38.6% to 47.1%, with dependence on coal falling from 61.4% to just 52.9%. So dependence on coal for power generation has been reduced with improvement in utilization of renewable energy. Digital connectivity also improved. Progress in telecommunication infrastructure was also seen. So tower installed in lakh from 7.9 lakh to 8.2 lakh in a year. We have seen that. Optical fiber cable laid also increased from 677,000 km to 693,000 km, and high-speed broadband also increased 8 lakh to 12 lakh. Rural infrastructure also has seen improvement. The progress under Jal Jeevan Mission has led to access to safe piped drinking water. So in August 2019, access to safe piped drinking water was just 3.2 crore, which has increased to 15.3 crore in November 2024. So the states achieving full coverage under Jal Jeevan Mission was Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Punjab, Telangana and Mizoram. Increasing number of villages achieving ODF plus status, which is like ODF is open defecation free. So not defecating in open places. So this is again about hygiene and health. So on the screen, if you see, there has been a substantial reduction in open defecation, which again will improve the health and hygiene of the population and hence leading to higher productivity for the population, contributing to the GDP. Now progress under various initiatives. So there has been Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, wherein in urban area 1.18 crore houses has been sanctioned as of 25th November 2024. Urban transport, if you see, metro rail systems of 1010 kilometers currently operational in 23 cities. And an additional 980 kilometer is underway. Atal Mission for Regeneration and Urban Transformation. Tap water coverage increased to 70% and sewage coverage has risen to 62%. Smart Cities Mission, like 93% projects completed as of 13 Jan 2025. Now coming to Business Expectation Index. So if this value is above 100, it shows optimism. And if it is below 100, it shows pessimism. Though the value is well above 100, Business Expectation Index has decreased from 2023 to 2025. So this is not a good sign. But hopefully with some reforms in budget, this would increase. India's infrastructure, well, in that case, any infrastructure is supported by cement and steel mainly. If you see on the screen, for both cement production and steel production, and this year also there is anticipation of increased cement and steel production, depicting an increased development in infrastructure. Performance of consumer goods industries. Also, if you see, growth in textile exports has been increasing. Increased momentum of electronics industry is also seen. Though imports has been increasing, the exports also has been increasing in addition to increased production. Intellectual property is also fast growing in India. So the graph shown in the screen is self-explanatory. Moving forward, services business is the backbone for the GDP of India, having highest contribution from the services business. This also indicates that there has been reduced GDP contribution from manufacturing and agriculture, which is not good because in manufacturing you get more job creation, so is in agriculture. But if you see in IT industry or in services industry, specialization is more and the upper class in the economy gets advantage, not the lower poor level people. This also shows positivity in addition to that, and negativity that we have to increase the GDP in terms of manufacturing and agriculture as well, for which government is bringing in lot of schemes, and hopefully in tomorrow's budget some new schemes are also introduced. Coming to challenges, opportunities and way forward for services. So challenges is like traditional apprenticeship model faces challenges of inadequate direct supervision, language barriers, information gaps and differences in regulatory provisions across countries. Opportunities is like increasing demand for embedded services, adoption of digital technologies and AI in services and manufacturing. Encashing the strength of global trades in services is another opportunity. Policy support is like appropriate skilling to reap benefits of digital revolution, reform grassroots level procedures and regulations that hinders growth. So that's like way forward to boost the services industry further. Though if you see, the economic survey warns of AI's potential to displace middle and lower income work. Because if AI comes in, lower and middle income work group will lose job. Though AI creates new jobs, many of the jobs will also be lost as well, because AI will take care of those works. While the developers of artificial intelligence promises to revolutionize industries by automating a large portion of economically valuable work from healthcare and research to finance and education, these advancements may come with significant consequences. The advancements of AI comes with consequences, particularly for middle and lower income workers, with large scale labor displacement expected as AI surpasses human decision making across various fields. So that's one challenge for AI. Now talking about agriculture and food management sector, these are like sector of future. So there has been a decline in share of non-institutional credit as the screen shows. So non-institutional credit is like now the farmers are borrowing from proper banks and not non-institutional credit which are not credit worthy or trustworthy. So proper banking system they are utilizing because of the government's initiative of starting the bank accounts and etc. various initiatives. So you can see the growth in credit flow to small and marginal farmers, which is mentioned in lakhs. From financial year 2015, it is 3.47 lakh crore, which has increased to 14.4 lakh crore in financial year 2024, which is a incredible increase in credit flow. Increase in areas under micro irrigation is also self-explanatory on the screen. Promoting sustainable farming, the major measures like Krishi Vikas Yojana, Soil Health Card, Per Drop, More Crop, National Bamboo Mission, Mission Organic, wherein value chain development in the northeastern region has been achieved. So all these things has been incorporated for promoting sustainable farming. Though the agriculture sector is lagging behind, government is putting some initiatives to revive it. Now talking about climate and environment. So adaptation matters. High economic growth to achieve status of developed country by 2027 also comes with a challenge to become net zero by 2070. So challenge is like if you have to grow fast, you have to be energy intensive, which will pollute the nature. But going net zero is also a challenge. International support on finance and technology is highly inadequate. India meets its requirement largely from its non-budgetary sources. Follow a low carbon development path while ensuring job creation and affordable energy security for all given the limitation of renewable energy. Now the priorities are like bringing adaptation to the forefront given higher vulnerability to climate change, reducing emission intensity of its indispensable thermal power through adoption of supercritical plants, ultra supercritical and advanced ultra supercritical technologies. Also focus on environmental sustainability through moderation of consumption and production habits as envisaged during mission life. So what is mission life? So mission life is like lifestyle for environment. So this is like harnessing the power of collective action for environment, which is again described on the screen, wherein power of collective action, lifestyle change by 13% of global population can reduce carbon emission by 20%. Finishing the food on plate can avoid 90 kgs of annual food waste per person. Carpool can reduce 7,80,000 rides per day, which will save 380 million liters of fuel in India. Recycling 1 ton of newspaper can avoid 25,000 liters of water wastage. These are all small things, but which will really add to our economy. So next is progress towards India's NDCs. NDC is like National Determined Contributions, which are national climate action plans by each country under the Paris Agreement. So a country's NDC outlines how it plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to help meet the global goal of limiting temperature rise to 1.5 degree and adapt to the impacts of climatic change. So if you see on the screen, the renewable energy sector in that against the updated NDC target of 50% by 2030, installed electricity generation capacity from non-fossil sources has reached 46.8% as on 30th November 2024, which is well ahead of the plan. The renewable energy usage has been increased a lot. Forest cover, as per the latest forest survey of India 2024, an additional carbon sink of 2.9 billion tons CO2 equivalent has been created between 2005 to 2023 against the NDC target of creating an additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons CO2 by 2030, which is also seems to be a very well ahead as far as the emission is concerned. Now climatic initiatives, if you see India's achievement on its climatic commitments is attributed to wide variety of schemes, policies, financial incentives and regulatory measures to boost renewable energy and green investments. Hence, if you see on the screen, the dependability on coal has been reduced to 46.2% from earlier 60%. We are now depending on solar, 20% solar, wind of 10.5%, hydro of 10.3%, and other renewable sources of 3.5%, and a nuclear of 1.8%. So which is really commendable. Rest gas is like 5.4%, diesel is 0.1%, and lignite is 1.4%. Lignite again can be categorized under coal though. So diesel, lignite, gas and coal, these are all fossil based fuels, which is still slightly above 50%. Social sector, extending reach and driving empowerment. So increase in social service expenditure is also to be noticed. If you see out of total expenditure in FY 2025, 98 lakh crore is the total expenditure, out of which 25.7% has been the expenditure on the social services, which is very important for uplifting the lower gate sector of the population. Building strong foundation for the lifelong learning also. For that, improving basic facilities in school like girls toilet, boys toilet, hand wash facility, library, reading rooms, electricity, medical checkup, computer, internet, this all has been concentrated very well by the government, though it requires more efforts. Building blocks for a better education, this has also been a major concentration by the government, though they have to put more effort in this. They have been doing various initiatives for this. Now talking about powering rural economy, government has come up with lot of schemes like Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, Jal Jeevan Mission, Swachh Bharat Mission, Mission Amrit Sarovar, National Health Mission Rural, Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana. So all these things has been to empower the rural economy. Still, it requires more efficient implementation, but still utilized. They have taken up these initiatives. Health for all has been another initiative by the government, wherein affordable medicine and immunization has been taken up, ensuring health and building care. So all these things, if you see in the screen, it is self-explanatory. So this has been taken up by the government, though health sector requires much more improvement. So next is employment and skill development. So there has been improving labor market indicators. The unemployment rate has slightly reduced in 2023-24, but still a lot of improvements are required in this area. Increase in female labor force participation rate is highly seen here. If you see on the left side, 2017 to 2018, it has been on a lower side. But as you see on the right hand side, from 2023 to 2024, there has been a lot of green, wherein it shows that there has been increased labor force participation. Also, government bringing a lot of rules like 50-50, 40-60 rules, wherein minimum female employment should be there, which is really good, which increases the productivity, and they get out of the role of housewife and get into more productive works, wherein it will generate positively to the Indian economy. Now, boosting female labor force participation, harnessing the power of women entrepreneurs. For this, there has been various schemes like skill development, access to credit, marketing support, support to women-owned enterprises. This has been various initiatives wherein this has pushed the female employment. Now, the labor in AI era, this is a catalyst or crisis. This needs to be seen, because a future for human-centric automation is what we are looking at. So, development of AI presents both opportunities and challenges for a labor-rich India. Though AI is creating few jobs, it will take away a lot of jobs, as explained in the earlier slides. So, this needs to be seen, and India needs to be skilled to take up these jobs in AI. So this is all. It has taken a lot of time, but I had to read through each and every line in the economic survey and then present it to you before the budget. So hope this session has been useful to you. All the things which has covered in the economic survey, I hope I have covered here. We'll try to come up with some video after the budget tomorrow. Overall, if you see, we have got lot of challenges, and deregulation is something which we have to bring in, wherein institutions will come back to reinvest in India, and also there is economic boost and GDP increase. So let's see what the finance minister is delivering in the budget tomorrow. See you in next video. Till then, happy investing.